Kia ora, Helen Brahms here, come to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1487. It is done. We have, it is done in the fact we got done what we needed to get done. So today it was one of our extreme heat wave days where they got up to like 112, 115. I don't know. All I know is 102 by the time I got home. But yesterday with all the packing we did, we got there, it was, we left here at 8:45, we got there at 9:15. By 10:15, we were almost home again with a load of boxes and stuff because I had everything packed. I had everything that was loose packed. I had everything that was out of any cupboard or storage area that would not be accessible if the slides are closed. And I had all of that stuff packed up yesterday. So today got there, my neighbor had backed his truck up to the edge of the patio area and had the back of the truck open because it's one of those pickup trucks that has a canopy on the back. And so all I had to do was just walk out the door and put stuff into the truck. I didn't have to walk around any corners or anything. So he'd actually parked it at right angles to the RV, which was nice. And I was like, oh, I need to move my car because I can't get his car out unless I move my car. And so I ended up driving around the front of his car and parking at right angles with my nose up against the RV underneath the bedroom slide. Kept it not really as cool as I would have liked, but it did help some. And we got the back of his thing packed up, and I had a lot of like the bank boxes, which is the box with the lid that goes on top. And because I just find them easier for stacking and everything else. And so I got everything in there. We got there at 9:15 and we were only there like 30 minutes. It took me 30 minutes to get that stuff in the truck. And then we were gone. And by 10:15, we were almost home, which was amazing because I wanted to get this done as quickly as possible in the morning before the heat came. It was already 102 when we came home to unload the truck. And I managed to back the truck up. So most of it was in the garage with just a small area at the back that I could access. Had my step ladder out to help me get into the back of the truck, so I could get all the stuff that had gone up that was at the front of the cab and all of that sort of thing. So got all that done and had something we hadn't even had breakfast at that point. So Zeph and I had a quick bite to eat. And then lots of water because I was so thirsty. It was so hot, and everything was just dripping wet on me. All my clothes were dripping wet, and it's like, when was the last time I worked in this type of heat? And I'm like, I don't think I've ever worked in that type of heat before. So dripping wet. Got Zeffy back into the truck, and then we headed off back to drop the truck back off and get in our car and all of that, and went back, and we were back home just after 12 because we stopped and chatted with the neighbors a little bit as well. So we probably it took me like 10 minutes to unload the truck, 10-15 minutes to unload the truck, and bring some of the temperature sensitive stuff inside. But I've still got some boxes out there which I'm going to be bringing in later on, but I was just exhausted. By the time we got home, I was exhausted. I was like, I'm done. Shower, change of clothes. Thought this is my second shower of the day. Shower, change of clothes, and then heated up a pizza. Now Costco has these really cool pizzas which are called mushroom truffle. I think it's mushroom truffle, but they are really, really good. They've got lots of mushrooms on them, which I absolutely love. And there's slithers of truffle on there and some slices of cheese on there. They're just really, really good pizzas. And for once, Zeffy did not come and bug me while I was eating them. She was exhausted too. She had laid down on the back seat of Mike's truck, and that was it. She was gone for the whole ride until we got into the campground where we slowed down, and then she's like up and looking around. But we were home by just after 12, like 12:15, I think it was. And so I thought, well, that's not bad. From when we left at 8:46 in the morning to coming back home, we're gone for like 3.5 hours. So I thought that's not bad for a 30-minute trip there, pick up the stuff, come back here for 30-minute drive back here, and another 30-minute drive there. So we had spent two of those hours just traveling. So for the actual work side of it, I thought, that's not too bad, and it's done. So now we can try to start the engine. We didn't try that one today. So the next thing is to get the engine started. And then once the engine started is yeah, they're going to follow me in their vehicle down to where the car rentals, where the RV park is, that we're going to be storing the RV for a little bit. And so they're going to follow me. I think one's going to drive my car, one's going to drive the truck. And then when we get down there, I will live in the car and they will live in the truck. I think that's how it's going to work. We're going to have a convoy. So if anything happens and we break down along the way, at least, it's not going to be too bad. So we shall see. As far as Zeffie goes, she's doing really well. She's absolutely knocked out, tired today. We did go and have a nice long nap this afternoon. My body was so drained, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. It's hot. And I thought, and I still haven't mowed the lawns. I got to mow the lawns, but I've got to go put some water on it because the nice, beautiful green grass I had is starting to turn brown at the tips. And I'm like, yeah, no, it took me forever to get it. It took me ages to get this beautiful green grass, and now I'm about to lose it. So I got to go put some water on it tonight. And then in the cool of maybe next weekend, I'll get out there and mow it, because next weekend's meant to be a lot cooler than this weekend. So she spent most of the day in here on the chair. And then when I told her I was going to go take a nap, she reluctantly came with me, hopped up on the bed, and she hasn't moved from there since. She's moved around on the bed, but she's still on the bed. She's still on the bed. And I got up at 4 off the bed, I think it was. But we've just had a nice, relaxing afternoon, recovering from the heat, getting hydrated again. I've done 2 or 3 packets of electrolytes today just to try and get the hydration going, because I know we're about to go for a WALK, and it's still 100 and something degrees outside. But we have to go this early now because it's starting to get, we went out at 7 o'clock last night and it was almost dark. And it's currently 113 degrees outside right now. For those of you back in New Zealand, one moment while I switch the, metric. 45 degrees Celsius. Yeah, and that's basically going to be our week this week. Yeah, we're 45 today, 46 tomorrow, 45 on Tuesday, 40. Oh, we're starting to drop. Look at that. Oh, yes, those temperatures are starting to drop nicely. So we're starting to get into the cooler weather. We might get out of we're going to be getting out of the triple digits soon. And I'm so looking forward to that, because there's nothing that I want more is to be able to have the front door open with the screen in place and open up the back door and get that cross breeze going through the house. I have windows open to air the house out. So yeah, it was a little warm today. But 45 degrees Celsius today, 113 degrees out there right now, which is 45 degrees Celsius. So I'm sort of like, and it was a very, very hot morning, I must say. It was 100, like I said, 102 by the time we got home with the load of stuff that was in the truck. And I was going to leave it parked out on the thing and then walk up the driveway. And I suddenly thought, well, hang on. Most of us will be able to get into the garage. So we just backed it up into the garage and did it that way. It was so much easier. And like I said, 10 to 15 minutes, the back of the truck was empty. And it took us almost 30 minutes to load it. And then we basically just had something to drink, something to eat, had some electrolytes, and then it was back into the truck and off to go drop that off, and then back home again. And I kept thinking, do I want to pick up some takeout for home? I'm like, no, I've got that pizza in the freezer. Yeah, that'll do. I had this entire dialogue on the way home, in the car on the way back. And I was like, I really just don't. And of course, it being around midday, everybody was going to be slammed anyway because of, the lunch rush and all that. And I'm like, I just don't feel like standing in line. I'm going home and having pizza. So we came home and had pizza. And tonight for dinner, it'll probably just be a protein shake, simply because I really don't feel like cooking again today. That was hot work out there today, but we got it done. Now we just have to get the RV started, get that started. So I'm looking at my calendar trying to figure out whether I'm going to do it tomorrow or Tuesday. It'll probably might even have to be Wednesday, but I have to get it out of there Friday morning. It has to be gone Friday morning because the new people arrive that afternoon for that site. So we're down to crunch time. And I'm like, yeah. So I'm trying to figure out, looking at my calendar, trying to figure out which day would be best to go. I might have to rearrange my schedule a little bit so I can get some stuff done out there at the RV. And of course, it's in the 5 hottest days of the week this week that we have to get it done. And Friday it drops down to like 100 degrees, I think it is. So it drops down on Friday, and it's like, but I need to get somebody out there. I need to get the truck started. I need to get the RV started. I need to do all the tire pressure things, check that the tires are okay, and just all that road prep. And even though we're not going far, we're only going, we'll still be driving 30 minutes, but we're going further south from where I am right now. And there's a place down there that's got covered parking for the RV, which I want. And they have a 110 volt outlet there, so you can put a trickler on the battery. Yes. And I also thought, and I could take an extension cord down there and I could use that to vacuum. But while we're trying to get the truck started, if we're having to wait for the roadside assistance people to come out with the new battery, I can still at least run the vacuum cleaner around, because I have to have the engine on in order to close the slides. And I really don't want to have to, because if you disconnect the battery, there is a way that you can push the slides in. I really don't want to have to deal with that. So that's the manual. You can manually get the slides in, but you have to disconnect the battery, the engine battery, and have a couple of people help push it in and push it closed. So I really don't want to have to do that, not in these temperatures. So yeah. So it'll either be Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll be out there and waiting on the mechanic to come out to replace maybe replace the battery. Fingers crossed, we can jump start it off the house batteries. So if you don't know, RV, especially Class A RVs, actually have its own installed jump start battery kind of thing. So you have the house batteries, which when you're out on the road and stuff, like if you go into a rest area or something and you might need a light on, or you need to plug something in like an electric kettle to boil some water for a cup of tea or something like that. You can't use like the microwave or anything else. There are certain outlets in the RV and certain lights in the RV that will run off the house batteries, and they stay fully charged while you're plugged in. So they will run off the house batteries, and you're able to use those lights and stuff if you're off the grid and you don't want to put your generator on, or you're not allowed to put your generator on. So there's certain areas that you can certain plugs you can use, certain in fact, I found the TV in the bedroom can run off the house batteries if needed. And let me tell you the funny story about how we found that out. So we're taking the RV out for a test drive, and all of a sudden we're hearing these voices, and we're like, what? It sounds like and it was actually a hockey game commentary that was going on. I'm like, what the heck? And we go and so the sales guy and I go into the bedroom, and the TV's on in there, and like it's broadcasting like the local news channel or something. So we turn it all off, and not even thinking about, because there's an actual switch that you have to flip for the TV to be powered from the house batteries. And so we turned it all off. We're out doing this test drive, and all of a sudden, again, we start hearing these voices. We're like, what the heck is that? And again, that TV had somehow come on again. And, but it's on a, what do I call it? I think it's the inverter. That was it. So we flipped the inverter switch, and that stopped it coming on again. But it was hilarious. We're like driving along, and all of a sudden there's a hockey commentary going on. What the heck? And that was the TV in the bedroom, because it runs off the house batteries. So we found out that's where that runs. But yeah, so you can actually use you do have to disconnect the power source coming into the RV at the time, because starting an engine while you are hooked onto power could actually blow your circuit. And yes, Kathy, it's not hockey season, but this was back in May of 2019, and they were doing some commentary on some hockey thing. So maybe it was the beginning of hockey season, getting ready. I don't know, but all I know is that when we went in there, these guys were dressed up in the hockey stuff, and the commentators were talking about it. So that's all I can tell you. I couldn't even tell you what the teams were, because I don't know the hockey teams. But so yes, we actually have to go out and flip the main switch to turn off the power to the RV from the power utility pole there, and before we turn the engine on. Because if you turn the engine on or have the engine running while you hook up to shore power, then you can have issues with it blowing your circuit boards, or the circuit breakers and stuff, and doing a lot of damage. And I had read this on the Fleetwood Bounder Facebook group, which is very good. Like, you know, and, all these people going, no, don't turn it on while I'm talking up, because people go in there and ask all sorts of questions and that sort of stuff. And so then you sit in the driver's seat and you turn the key and nothing will, and if nothing happens, and I've had this happen once, if nothing happens, there's a little button, you reach over here and you press that little button and then you turn the key and it will jump start the engine battery off the house batteries. So it's kind of really cool. So it's got a built-in jump starter. And if that doesn't work, Mike's offered to hook his truck up to see if we can get it running that way. And I said, and if that doesn't work, I'm calling the roadside assist people to say, hey, can you come out and get me started? And hopefully they'll bring out a new battery at that point, because I have a feeling the battery may need replacing. And I really don't want to have to replace the battery. So I'm fingers crossed that everything's going to work when we turn the key and everything runs. And also the engine hasn't run for like 2 years. So there's going to be the concerns of the oil and all the fluids and everything else. Yeah, I really need to get a mechanic out there to change all of that out. So, but finding a mobile mechanic to come out for an RV, it's a little tricky. But I do have a pump that will run off the cigarette lighters, and I have a couple of those outlets outside in the one of the lockers. And so I can plug it in there, and it's got a very long lead on it as well. And if that lead's not long enough, I have an extension cord that's specifically for those outlets. And then I can go around and do the tire pressures, which reminds me, I need to get the tire pressure gauge. Now, it may be a little bumpy riding because the tires might be a little misshapen. Because my dad was concerned. He said, but you've had your tires. And I said, no, I've had the jacks down. And the jacks are kind of taking the pressure off the tires. How much it actually takes off the tires, I don't know. But we have had the leveling jacks down the entire time it's been there. And so I know that the tires do touch the ground. I just don't know how much weight is on those tires. But yeah, so we're going to get all that sorted this week and then get it moved. So yeah, so that's the fun coming up. But as far as the inside goes, it's there's just a couple of bits and pieces which I can easily throw in the back of my car with no problem at all, like my cooler, my plug-in cooler. And I do have to still defrost the fridge and freezer. That's going to be the fun. Oh, hairdryer. That's the other one I need, hairdryer. Do you know what I have hairdryers for? I have no idea how to use a hairdryer on my hair, like using brushes and curl. And yeah, forget that. The hairdryer is for defrosting the fridge and freezer. That's all I get a hairdryer for. In fact, I had a friend come and stay, and she used the hairdryer all the time. She'd bring a hairdryer and didn't realize I didn't have one. And so she went out and bought a hairdryer and left it with me and said, this is for you. It stays here. And I'm like, oh, no, you take it with you. And she's like, oh, no, I've got plenty at home. You need one here for when guests come. I went, okay. So it's in the RV, and all I've ever used it for is to defrost the fridge and freezer. And people think I'm crazy. I am. That's just a secret between you and me. Anyway, that's it. I'm out of here. So go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at, hang on, let me double check my calendar here. Yep, at 6 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow. And have a super fantastic sparkling evening. Hei konera.